and welcome to the Holistic Living, Learning, and Loving podcast, where we are bringing you back to the basics.
We explore sustainable living and holistic health and strive for progress, not perfection.
So please join us on a wellness journey and feel empowered to make positive changes in your life. Hey guys, today we are going to talk about the sun. This is really exciting. I have been really getting into sunlight recently. It kind of might seem a little weird. We're going to talk about the sun today. Like, what's up with that? We were just talking about clean eating a couple of days ago. And then before that was like kitchen stuff and gardening and stuff like that. So like, how does the sun like fall into this category of things that we'd be talking about? But the reason why is because the sun is so important to our health. It's important to all beings on earth to get adequate amounts of sun. A lot of people do a lot of things for their health, like what we do with food and water and, everything that we do to be successful with our health. But some people fail to think about how the sun like impacts their health as well. So we are going to talk about that at length, some different things that you can do. And Rachel has gotten me into this more recently, so she like knows a bit more about it than I do because I am just a little baby sun goer. So Rachel, I am going to kick it off to you. Like, what is up? Why do we need the sun to be healthy? I mean, besides just like the obvious reasons of like our universe and how it works.
Yeah. So first of all, this whole subject is like my new little passion project. Like I discovered this wonderful woman, Jackie Jolie. She brought it into my attention, and as she started speaking about it, it just makes so much sense that we need the sun and how important it is with our health. It's not something that I know like everything there is to know about, but I know enough to like get the word out. I'm really passionate about letting people know. I want people to understand how important this is, because a lot of us are out here doing all of the healthy things, trying to eat healthy, taking all the supplements, trying to do everything right. We're still struggling. We're still struggling to see results. And all the people in that, so it's a lot to do with quantum biology. If you start looking into quantum biology, it's all about circadian rhythm, your healthy light life, and getting that right first. And that they would argue that that is the most important part of your health. Like, you can eat all the healthy foods, you can do all the healthy things, but if you don't have a healthy light life first, then you're going to struggle with everything else. So it really is number one. It's like, the missing key.
I mean, just like from like just like thinking about the universe in general, like it's kind of hard to imagine that people have lost the idea of how important the sun is when basically, I mean, depending on what you believe in, but I guess, scientifically, um, that the world like is here because of the sun. Without the sun,
Right.
none of us would be here, no plants would be here, none of the things in our universe would be here without our sun. I guess it like makes sense when you think about it like that, about how we're here to begin with, of like
Yeah.
why the sun's important.
I mean, it's pretty crazy how we've gotten to this point of thinking that the sun is killing us. The sun is giving us cancer. We must hide from the sun. We must put on sunscreen all over our skin, the sunglasses, the clothes, the hats. Let's hide from it. Like, how did we get here? And none of us have questioned it. We're just like, yeah, like this is what it is. It's killing us. It's terrible. Like, how we evolved in the sun.
Yes,
We
everything did,
we
except for
live in the
things in
daylight.
like deep sea creatures,
Or nocturnal,
Yeah.
which, we'll talk about that later, about studies being done, on rats who are nocturnal, the
Yeah.
studies that prove that the sun is bad, but when you think about it, it makes all the sense in the world. And where do we get our main source of vitamin D? The sun. And who's extremely deficient in vitamin D? Almost every single American.
Yeah,
Like,
like looked at a statistic. It's like 1 billion people in the world are deficient in vitamin D. I mean, that's
yeah,
like crazy.
and it's actually a hormone that we desperately need, for so many functions, and we're so deficient because we're inside more than we've ever been before, you know. And we're, using sunscreen, sunglasses, hats, all the things, yet skin cancer is on the rise more than
Yeah,
it's ever
so
been before.
I really want to share my screen and just show this graphic that I pulled from the friend. What's her name? Jackie
Jackie
Jolie.
Jolie.
So she posted this, and it's an inverse relationship showing how the rates of melanoma have drastically risen between 1935 and 2000, but yet people are spending less time in the sun. So how are those things correlating? Like that doesn't really make sense to me. We're spending so much
Right.
time inside, then how do people have so much cancer? You would think it would be, the opposite.
Right. I mean, that speaks volumes in and of itself. And just the whole, the studies being done on the nocturnal rats, and then all of those studies claiming that the sunlight is bad, they're also done under blue light, ultraviolet, blue light, artificial light. So that's not even done under the full spectrum sunlight. So it's kind of crazy that that just doesn't even make sense. Like, how do you even do studies to prove something's bad or beneficial, and it's not even done in that environment?
Yeah,
you
so
know
I guess like backing up, so the sunlight, like what makes up the sun, right? It's like the sunlight is made up of, your rainbow, your Roy G biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet light. And whenever we put all of those lights together, it makes the white light that we see outside when we, look out towards the sun. So basically what we're talking about is, we have manufactured because uh, I read that in 1992 like blue light was invented. Before then, like we had like red, like the red displays on electronics and stuff like that. But they made the blue light, and man, since that time period, mental illnesses have skyrocketed, insomnia and things like that. But like what you're talking about is like they're doing studies to say how bad light is, but they're using blue light, which is like isn't that like the worst possible light,
yeah. Well, it's like having just blue light is, they call it like the junk food of light. It's like if we were out here, if you were talking about food, eating Oreos and drinking Mountain Dew, just consuming blue light, you're not having the full spectrum. And blue light is more prevalent during like the noon time of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're staring at our phones and our TVs, or just being under our light bulbs in our homes, we're constantly telling our body that it's noon. And our body functions on our like revolves around our circadian rhythm. All of our bodily functions revolve around time. Like we're supposed to be producing certain hormones. We wake up, we're supposed to start producing cortisol to get our day started. At night we're supposed to start producing melatonin to go to sleep, and all many other things. And when we're not in the right light, consuming the right light information, we're constantly confusing our body and causing chaos. Our body has no idea what it's supposed to be doing, what time of day or season or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it doesn't, and that goes along with, that's why that has to come first before the food, and before all of the other things, because first your body has to know when and how to function.
Yeah, I mean, like all the blue light that we consume, I mean, like whenever you just like think about it, like you wake up, you turn on your lights, everyone has gone towards LED lights. I mean, it's this mass marketing push for
Mm-hmm.
LED lights. I mean, in everything, there's all these LEDs that turn on, turn off, turn different colors. It's just like the incandescent bulb, like, oh, you have incandescent bulbs. Oh, it's like this hoity toityism,
Yeah,
like for a preference on LED bulbs. And it's like, makes you think like, and you can Google it, like, are all these LED bulbs like making us sick? Like all this blue light that we put in our houses, we shine it down, we look at our screens, kids are playing video games for hours, like it's just our laptops, our phones. It's kind of like everywhere you turn
it
in our
is.
household.
It's everywhere, and it's usually the first thing we see in the morning and the last thing we see at night, you know. And that brings us to why it's so important for the sunrise to be the most important light that you see first.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when it's dark outside, it should be dark in your house. Which is really hard. Like, that was really hard for me because Nick gets home from work pretty late, and that's our only time together. And our little thing to do is like Netflix and chill, like that what we really enjoy doing. So that's why I got these glasses. So it's not like you can't, you just have to live in the dark as soon as it gets dark outside, but there's, measures we should take to reduce the amount of blue light we're consuming or around, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
because like I mean, if you look at the studies, blue light, it like like I said, it makes people insomniacs. Like, how many people struggle to
oh,
go to sleep at night? I mean, like almost every like especially women, like almost
yes,
everyone I know struggles with insomnia. And then like
yes,
also like depression and all that stuff. I mean, almost every again, like most people I know are struggling with some sort of like mental illness. And it's like
yes. I feel like,
unexplained. Like why.
and I feel like blue light and all the artificial light has so much to do with mental illness, depression. Because think about it, my moods and emotions fluctuate a lot. And almost every single time when I'm now, especially now that I'm more knowledgeable about the sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
the second I walk outside, I feel like I just start to feel better immediately. And I not just now that I know about this. I did start I kind of noticed it before. I just wasn't aware, I wasn't like thinking about it. But thinking back, like, yeah, I do start to feel better and more happy as soon as I get in the sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
Sunlight has always made me feel more happier, you know?
Yeah. And like I've spent so much time, like I'm fair skinned and freckly, and I've like spent most like my entire adult life like feeling like I can't really be in the sun, and I'm just gonna get burned, and I'm gonna get like like damage to my face, and I'm gonna look like old hag and
Yeah.
I'm gonna get cancer, and like all these things. And like, so I design, like, I mean, I spend most of the summers inside because well, also it's like hot AF. But like this year, after, we talked about this and you kind of turned me on to this new lifestyle, I've been spending so much time outside and just like making a point, like I'm not doing anything right now, I'm outside. Like I'm not just sitting on my phone
Yeah.
endlessly scrolling and like zapping my dopamine. I'm out there, I'm doing something, or I'm just chilling outside, and it's like, it's been great. Like, I feel mentally better now than ever, like, I feel great.
Me
And I
too.
think it like really has a lot to do with like all the pieces of the puzzle, but I think the sunlight is like such a key piece in it.
Right. It's like truly the missing link, you know? It's
Yes.
just it's basically telling our bodies what to do with all the healthy things we're trying to do. All the food, all the everything.
Yeah, so I
But
guess it's kind of hard for me because, like, I guess I randomly started waking up really early recently. And I don't know if it's because I'm taking all these like supplements and trying to get my hormones back in check, and maybe they're finally like starting to do what they're supposed to do, like cortisol production and stuff like that. Or what, I don't know what. Like I don't know why I've been waking up so early, like 4:30, like maybe bad thing, I don't know, but it's hard because like I would love to like save myself for the first light in the morning and watch, and not have like blue light everywhere, but like I got to do something, and I'm going to be productive. I'm going to be like working on the podcast or working like on my job, my mortgage lending stuff. So
right.
it's really hard to
And
like
that's your free
manage that.
time from the
Hmm.
kids.
Yeah, not too.
And that's understandable. And that's, a lot of people's situation, honestly.
Hmm.
Like Nick, he can't really do that because he has to get up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And although we can like take all the measures inside of our house, like with red light bulbs or red headlamps and things like that, or incandescent bulbs, those are things you can do. If the sunlight can't be the first light you see, you can use just those cheap red party, like red bulbs for parties and stuff, or
Hmm.
incandescent bulbs, or like I have the headlamps that put on red. You can do those, and then once the sun comes up, you can go outside and see the sunlight. But for Nick, he has to go straight to his truck and, turn on the headlights. He's on the
Mm-hmm.
road. So, I mean, in those situations, the best thing you could do would to be get blue light blocking glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And you would use your glasses until the sunrise. And if you're in your car for the sunrise, you open your sunroof, open your windows. And a lot of people think like you, it's good enough just going through your window, but the light is like full of information, and the window is a barrier, basically, and it might. I'm not sure about it like blocking certain rays or whatever, but I do know that it needs to be open, and you don't want to have the window up. So just we need to start keeping our windows down, our sunroofs open, and let the sunlight hit us, and then you can take your glasses off.
Mm-hmm.
And then speaking about blue light blocking glasses, there are a lot of companies jumping on this bandwagon just to make money now, but they're not all the same. It can't just be any blue light blocking glasses. They don't all work the same. It's not that simple, and you really want to get from a reputable company because there's more that goes into it. They need to allow certain rays of light in, and they really should have different colors. Like these are magnetized. They have the yellow. This is my prescription. And you have the yellow, which is good for the daytime,
Mm-hmm.
and then the orange, which is good for like the evening around sunset time, or just like late evening, and then you have the red for after dark.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just important because basically it's trying to mimic what's going on outside at those times,
Mm-hmm.
and like the red light is like fire, like because we would have fire at night in like hunter gatherer times or whatever,
Yeah.
that those kinds of lights are what's good, so you use the red. It does make it a lot harder to see, but it's just about
Yeah.
making those sacrifices.
Another thing you can do that you taught me is there's like a color, at least on iPhone, there's like a color filter setting that
Oh
I
yes.
can just turn my iPhone red. So typically, like we set outside, we like have dinner on our patio, and then like once that's over, we're like putting the girls to bed and stuff like that. And then once I kind of like retreat to my room and it's like that the sun's going down, I'll like put my glasses on and turn my phone red.
Yes,
Just
and that's probably the most affordable and easiest option to do. I did that before I had my glasses.
mhm.
The
And
only thing that
also I
sucked was
think
I didn't have it on my TV.
yeah.
So that's
Well,
why
I
I
think
needed the
also
glasses.
too, like with doing that on your phone, it makes your phone like less enjoyable.
It
Okay.
it, it does.
So
Yeah.
like you probably won't mindlessly scroll as much because you can't really see as good, and it's just not as
Yeah.
gratifying as having the blue light. I mean, the blue light is addictive. And
It is.
so it's just not as good. So like I like to do that too because I'm also like not trying to just be like a zombie looking at my phone all the damn time.
Yep.
So that helps. So tell me, like in a daytime, like from when you wake up till you go to bed, like what is optimal? What should we be doing for like our light
Honestly,
life health?
like the more sunlight you get, the better. We truly need to be in the sun a lot, and a lot of people may not be able to do that as much as others. But one of the main things is seeing the sunrise. If
Hmm.
you can see the sunrise, or at least protect your eyes from the artificial light until you can see the sunrise, that is like the main thing. You need your body to know when the sun is rising so it can start producing, it can know what time of day it is, and
Hmm.
start getting your circadian rhythm in order. And then just throughout the day, if you have to work on a computer a lot, or just staring at screens or in a building a lot, it'd be really wise to invest in some blue light blocking glasses.
Hmm.
And but you really want to take sun breaks. You want to go outside for 15 to 20 minutes, or just as much as you can. Even better if you could take your shoes off and be grounded, and just walk around in the grass in the sunlight, as much skin exposed as possible. Okay, like we have like that, the way we absorb sunlight is through our eyes and our skin. And if you're all covered up in long sleeves, jacket, pants, shoes, everything, like you're really not going to be absorbing as much. So that's
Hmm.
another reason why we're so deficient in vitamin D.
We got
And
too many clothes on. We need to be naked, nudists.
you know what? Look, so a lot of people are always like hating on women, like, oh, women need to be covered up, especially if you're religious. They're like, that's not, I don't know what, like what God calls you to do. That totally, like, I was always torn on that because I kind of didn't agree with it. But when I started learning about this, it just makes so much sense. Why would God make our bodies like? And I'm not trying to change anybody's opinion. I don't know if this is controversial. This is just what I think. Like, why would He made our bodies to absorb sunlight on our skin, and it's really the best way to get the optimal amounts of vitamin D that we need.
Mm.
So that's how I feel. The more skin exposed, the better. It's even better if you can sunbathe naked and get it on your genitals, your abdomen, your breasts. I mean, really, like, that can prevent cancers. And which brings us to a lot of people will be like, well, I guess we'll talk about it later about skin cancer. Let me
Yeah.
continue with what we should so yeah, take your sun breaks as much as possible, and better if you can ground as much skin as exposed as possible. And then when it's dark, it should be as dark as possible in your house. And if you're gonna be watching TV, phone, you really need to have like some glasses on with the appropriate lenses. And there's two companies that I know of that are reputable, and that is Raw Optics, like RA Optics, and Viva Rays. I got mine
Mm.
from Viva Rays.
I got some on Amazon that was like by this like the sleep doctor or something, and they're not like red, they're like a dark orange color. But that's what I got right now. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm doing. And I'm just like, like we said with everything else, kind of like dipping my toe into the pond, starting off.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what I do. I do get the morning, I do put that on in the morning when I wake up and work or whatever. And then I'll catch the sunrise and go work in my garden like very early in the morning, like six, from 6 to 7. I'll do like my morning workout outside. I do spend a lot of time like in my screen and patio because like mosquitoes are so horrible. But I do that and try to get out periodically during the day. But it is really hard to try not to wear sunglasses because my eyes are just like so sensitive from years and years and years of wearing sunglasses.
Right.
So
And
that
that's
is
about
difficult.
like that. It brings us to like building your solar callus. But before we do that, I forgot to mention that another thing. So our houses are filled with like tiny little lights, like on your Wi-Fi box, and like
Mm,
my deep freezer has a little light, like my coffee pot has a little light. And you really want to cover, or the fridge, if you have to open up your fridge while it's dark, those are all lights that we need to protect from too. So an easy, cheap way to do that is buy that red cellophane that you'd like make gifts with or whatever, clear
mm,
red cellophane, kind of like saran wrap or whatever, and you can just tape it around the lights. It's not very pretty, but
get the job
sacrifice.
done.
but but yeah, we also have to build our solar callus. Like you said, you're really fair skinned and you burn easy. I always remember you always burned easy. And a lot of people like you say, I can't be in the sun long. I'm going to burn, which is true. So people like that have to take it easier. You have to take shorter sun breaks, go in the sun for short amounts of time. So when you feel like you're about to burn, maybe you could like, if you still have to be outside, like say you're at the beach, you feel like you're about to burn, instead of putting on sunscreen and everything, or don't put on sunglasses, but you can put on a hat, long sleeve shirt, and then you have to keep exposing yourself to the sun for longer periods of time each time, or as much as your body can go. But you can't just like do it and then not go outside for a week and then do it. You'll never build your callus that way. It's something you'd have to do consistently to build up your tolerance, but it's
Mm,
possible. Like I listen, a great podcast to listen to if you really want to dive in and learn all about this stuff. It's full of people like doctors and scientists that are like, this is all they do, is the Quantum Biology Collective. I like love them. I'm obsessed with them, and so many awesome people on there. I highly recommend listening to them. But forgot what was I talking about?
So I really believe, I tell my husband this all the time because he's on like a lot of like work calls and stuff. Like go out, like for two reasons. Go outside, take a call outside, and just like go walk. Like you need to walk. Walking's important, and also you need to get in the sun because that's important too. So I just feel like even if you're at a job, like smokers are allowed to go take breaks to go
Yeah.
smoke. So like go take a smoke break and
Right.
go like do a little short walk and go get some sun rays like in your life, because like we can't just like be in a box all day and under artificial light and then again like wonder why we're sick,
Right.
because we're not meant to live like that, and it's not good for our health. There's studies showing it causes these issues. So like we have to take matters in our own hands and be out in the sun more and get
Mm-hmm.
those beneficial rays that we need, just like plants need and animals. Like
Exactly.
ever
That's what I
notice
was about
when
to say.
like when you take your pets outside, like the first thing they do is go find the light and go
Yeah.
sunbathe for like 15-20 minutes. Like
That's a
there's a
great point.
reason. Like
Yep. And it's just like
they know.
putting a plant in a dark closet and expecting it to grow. We're the same.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be in the light. And, the reason we burn and everything is just because we're always inside and we don't have a solar callus.
So we were kind of talking about different colors of light, and we talked about red light, or no, we talked about blue light and how blue light's the devil. But the next thing is red light. So I know we talk about the sunrise and stuff, and I think the reason why sunrise is so important is because it's red light, right?
Yeah. So the red light's the strongest. I want to say like the first 30 minutes or so of the sunrise, you really want to catch the best is like to catch the sun right as it's like starting to show light outside. Like
Mm.
that's the best that's when the red light is the strongest, and then the same for the sunset. And that is the most healing light. It's so beneficial, and you really, really want to be exposed to that. That's why there's so many red light therapy devices these days that are so healing that people are using on their body. So it's great stuff. We really want to be exposed to that as much as possible every single day.
So, I mean, I was like just Googling about red light, and there's like different like red light therapy tools and stuff. And like they say it helps with like wound healing and like vanity stuff, like makes your skin look better, wrinkles and sun damage and hair loss, which I was like, oh man, I need to get on that because my hair is like not having it. Um, but that's like really interesting, this whole like red light therapy stuff. I do see stuff like on Instagram and stuff sometimes about how people are doing like red light therapies. I think that you have to be careful with what you choose because some companies are just like total scam, and it's like not even
Yeah.
just like with the glasses, it's not the right, it doesn't cut out the right things or it lets wrong
Yeah.
things. I don't know, but
Yeah, it's like
there's
the
science.
yeah, like I said, like this is new to us, so we're just trying to get people on the path of looking into it. We're encouraging you to look into it.
Yeah, we
We're
don't know
no
everything about
experts
it.
by any means, but basically I do know that like there are like the devices, the red light devices, they have to have like the right waves of light or frequencies or something. It has to be done correctly. So there are companies out there that are made by people who in the quantum biology field who are doing it right. I could probably find some and we can link it in the show notes. But
Mhm.
yeah, you can't just buy any old device and expect it to work. And that's probably what leads people to believe that a lot of this stuff doesn't work because they're buying stuff that doesn't work. And it just there's so much more that goes into it. We need to make sure we're buying from reputable companies, which are going
Yeah.
to be more pricey, but don't let that discourage you from doing what you can, because
Yeah.
doing anything is going to be better than doing nothing for sure.
Yeah, yeah. We have, I mean, there's some things that are like free, like just
Yeah,
like up differently, or maybe not free, but like the cellophane and different stuff like that.
almost free.
Incandescent bulbs are like definitely cheaper than LEDs, if you want to go that route. But like, so after I do the sunlight and stuff like that, I guess I, try to get out in the sun, you know, the girls and I get out there and do something. But after they take a nap, I've been like really trying to go and like sunbathe in my yard and like do a little meditation and stuff like that. But like trying to like lose some clothing, maybe a little nudist activity, partial nudist activity. But I
Same.
was talking to like a lady that this really excellent I don't know, I call her a healer, Miss Donna. She was telling me like, oh, you should do that, but you need to do it on your anus. And so I was like, that's an interesting concept. Like, imagine, like, because I always, like, in my head worry that someone's going to be like peeping Tom me, you
Yeah.
know? And like, imagine if I'm just out there with my butt up in the air, like, oh, we'd be like, oh, wow. I didn't expect this today, but I like it.
You imagine how weird they would think you are. Like, that is so strange.
Oh my God. So she was saying that it has benefits, like it helps your like digestive system, like cleanse out your colon, get that sunlight in there. And then I was kind of Googling it and it says it like boosts energy and like helps with your sex drive and like
Yes.
all these great benefits. So it's like, I mean, what are you losing by like trying to do that?
Right.
You know, like get
Right.
out there and get your butt in the air and get that sun
Yeah.
blasting in there.
And then you won't have these tan lines, you know? You'll have a nice tan bum. You know, but it's true, like whatever the light is hitting is going to benefit. If it's your abdomen, it's going to help your gut and all, you know, your breasts, you know, I've heard so much about it increasing your libido and just your reproductive health if you let it get in your genitals and all of that stuff. I mean, yeah, it's silly, sounds crazy, but it's so right. And when you start to think about this stuff and you start to look into it, it just makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world, you know? And
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that the reason why we shouldn't wear sunglasses, um I think I didn't mention it, but basically the sun, like I said, the sunlight is absorbed through our skin and our eyes. So when we're wearing sunglasses, first of all, we want the light to get absorbed through our eyes so that it's connected to our pineal gland, which is what controls so much, but our circadian rhythm, right? So
Like
that's really
hormone
important
production and
to,
all that stuff.
yes. So it's so important that the light go in our eyes. Very, very important. So sunglasses are just like a no go for that. And also for burning. We burn more when we wear sunglasses. I think a lot of people are starting to catch on to this one. I've been hearing it a lot. But when our eyes, the light being absorbed through our eyes and, you know, going to our brain and informing our body of how strong the light is outside, is so that way our body can tell and communicate to our skin or whatnot to produce more melanin to protect our skin from burning.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're wearing sunglasses and making our body believe that it's darker outside, our body's not going to protect itself as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it's like, from what I gather, it's like twofold is that you like need to allow your body to signal itself properly to produce the melanin, which is produces vitamin D and all these things that help it protect itself, the things that your body knows how to do. Um,
yes.
and then and when you think about that too, it's like our bodies are not stupid. Like, we did
Yeah.
not manage as humans to be alive this long and grow from like an amoeba or whatever by not, like, our body knows what it needs to do. Like,
Yes.
whenever we mess with our environment and we mess with our health and we add things and we do all these things, we're just making our bodies struggle to survive, and it's
Right.
just trying to survive. And so it's like, by doing that stuff, it's like, oh, it's convenient, it's nice, sunglasses, woohoo, it's great, I love it. But like, what is it doing, like, to your body's natural functions? Like, and you have to think about how these things all like play together and inhibit your natural abilities to do the things that you're designed to do,
Yes.
you
Our
know
bodies definitely know how to heal themselves and how to do everything, but we're just constantly throwing it curveballs,
hmm it's
you
just
know?
like, too, like pharmaceuticals, like we spend so much
Yes.
on pills and blah blah blah, and I'm going off topic, but what I want to say here is that whenever you look outside at like a weeded area, like just natural stuff growing, like in your yard, that stuff, most of it is like holistic medicine. And
Yep.
the stuff is like what pharmaceutical companies synthesize to make prescription medicines. They just take the best parts of it and, do different things with it.
Well, they
But
change the chemical compounds so they can patent it because you can't
yeah.
patent them, you know?
Yeah, and then they poo poo on the natural stuff, like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not, FDA doesn't approve it. But the thing is like, like the things that we need to survive are right there in front of us.
They are. They're so right there in front of us. And they all want to just, like those weeds, they just want to grow. They want to,
Yeah,
they keep coming
exactly.
back and we're just constantly trying to kill them, kill them, kill them. And they're like, we're all over here all frustrated, like, oh, you can't get rid of the weeds. It's like, well, that's because they're so important.
Yeah.
Like all those straggly weeds that you think are so not important are like some of the most powerful medicine out there. And, a lot of people, they try these, medicinal herbs and they're like, oh, it doesn't work, but at the same time they're living really toxic lifestyles. Their light life isn't healthy. They're not in the sun. They're, maybe they drink a lot, or maybe they eat a lot of sugar, or just crappy foods, or their mental health is not great. We have to focus on each thing. It's a
Hmm.
whole picture here.
Yeah,
you know
holistic. It's you're looking at
yes.
everything, the holistic picture. All these pieces all go into each other. Like all the things that we're talking about are the things that you need to consider to be healthy holistically, not just
Right.
one thing, because
We
your
have to.
body is this whole system that needs different things.
Exactly. And we need to stop fighting nature.
Yes.
If we're fighting nature, then we're doing it wrong. It functions the way it
Yeah. It's
functions
like,
for a reason.
so kind of circling back on like the main topic and what brought us here is like the sun, uh, it's not here by accident. We're not here by accident. Our bodies know exactly what we need from it and it's necessary for our life and things like that. But like it has been so stigmatized that the sun causes cancer. We
Yeah.
talked about it earlier. We showed the graph, which it's like when you really think about it, how like does that make sense? Like make it make sense to me of why
Right.
we spend more time inside and why we have higher rates of sun cancer. And I was talking to Donna again, that healer. She's like a crazy abdominal massage therapist, but I don't know what she does, but like it's kind of miraculous. But anyway, and she
It's
was like,
magic.
"What if like the sun isn't causing skin cancer? What if the sun is pulling cancer cells out of our body and making it where we can see it to get rid of it?" And like that just like
It's like
blew
light bulb.
my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, whoa.
Yes. And
It's
that makes
so
all the
smart.
sense because the sun is detoxing. It helps to detox you and clear your body of toxins.
Yeah. I mean, it pulls like bad smells out of clothing. If you put it on the sun, it
Yep.
bleaches things. Like it's got these,
Sanitizes.
yes. Like, so why wouldn't it have the same effect on your body? You
Yes.
know?
And sometimes, or almost all the time, the answers to our problems are so simple. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
over here doing these scientific studies and, millions of dollars trying to figure out something. And it's like just so simple. Just like go lay out in the sun. eat
Yeah.
eat seasonally and locally, which is something I want to talk about. Just stay away from anything that's not natural. Like it's hard because we've become so used to this lifestyle. But when you
Mm-hmm.
start thinking about it, you're just like, how did we get here? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And it all just makes sense. It
It
really
really
does.
does. Like some of the stuff, if you really just like sit back and like think about it, like I'm not saying like, yeah, I know certain people are like super obsessed with like scientific studies. It has to be
Yeah.
proven by science. It has to, this one says this and that one doesn't believe that. And it is like that does make things, if you see things like in only that way, like you'll find both sides. You'll
Yeah.
find the thing that says it causes cancer. You'll find the thing that says it doesn't. So, I guess like what I try to do with this stuff is like just like almost like a common sense approach. Like, how did we get here? We've been around sun for, however many, I don't even know how many years humans have been, alive. But for all the time. And then before that, when we were something else. So it's just like, how does like it makes sense that the
Yeah.
sun is good? It
Right.
does these
It
good things.
that's what I do. Like you said, you're going to find scientific research on both sides, especially in today's world. It's so biased. Most science today is just about money. But yeah, so it's really hard to even find an answer when it comes to that because there is science that backs up everybody's opinion.
Yeah. And like
But
if you go through the rabbit hole of like, okay, I'm going to just study this one topic and try to get to the bottom of it, it's like so much research that will go into it because you got to read the papers, you got to
yeah,
see who funded them and like figure out who's legit versus who's not. And then you're still going to have both sides of the picture because things are changing and people are different. And, people do studies on, like you said, like nocturnal rats and like that makes no sense,
right.
and
Where
you do
there's
studies
missing
with artificial
variables.
light. It's like there's just so many different things that are at play here. And even if like it would, I don't know, it's just like so
Yeah, like,
difficult.
and we don't know everything. There's
Yeah.
so much we don't know. What the things that humans know is so small in the grand scheme of things. We could never do a proper scientific study because there's so many unknown variables that we can't even think of.
Yeah, we can't
That's
even
why we have
process
things
it.
so messed up,
Yeah, and
you
it's like
know?
we keep dabbling and trying to make things better and trying to make life easier, and it's making our lives more difficult because we're all struggling with fertility problems and gut issues and depression and insomnia, and like all these things are like making it hard for us to even function like fully functioning person,
Yeah.
like so we're just like fighting all the damage that we've done this whole time, and like it's just like no way to live like this, like this constant struggle.
Yeah, like it's really important to just, you know, take what you can from science. It's, it plays its part, we have
Yeah.
learned a lot from it, of course, but like Heather said, pay attention to what makes sense.
Yeah.
It's usually pretty obvious, like just what makes sense. Don't think that they are gods and just know everything because they certainly don't. And also listen to your body. Always listen to your body. And if you hear of thousands or millions of people doing something and it's working for them and they're raving about it, then there's probably something to it.
Yeah.
Like there are so many people out there raving about the sun, that you need to, get your circadian rhythm in order, get a healthy light life, and they have nothing to gain from this. Like, because
They're
the
not
sun is
selling the
free.
sun.
Right. The sun is free. They're not selling anything. They're raving about it because it's healing them. They want you to know about it. Same with what we're doing here. Like, we're not
Hmm.
selling you anything. We just want you to know because it's something. It's real. It's doing things. Like, so pay attention. Pay attention to those things because that's pretty much all you need to know what's going to work, like what's right, You
Yeah.
don't always need a scientific answer for everything. If it's working, it's working. If it makes sense, it makes sense.
Yeah, and just like backing up again about like the skin cancer stuff. So I've had two different cancerous like cell like moles or whatever that were abnormal removed from my body, and the two places are the bottom of my foot. Which I'm not
Mm.
saying that not all, like I know someone that had skin cancer on their forehead and it's like it's more directly proportional to like the
I was
sun.
about to ask you where it was
Yeah,
because I
so
was
one I
curious.
had two on the bottom of my foot and the other one right here, which is like predominantly
Right.
like tucked like inside my arm. So not really like, in the
Where the sun hits.
main places that see the sun on my body. So just, food for thought,
Yeah, and that
like
happens a lot of the time where melanoma or skin cancer is where the sun doesn't hit on
where
a
the sun
lot of
don't
people.
shine.
Yeah, where the sun don't shine. Yes. And I mean, yeah, sometimes it is. Like my dad has skin cancer all on his forearm right here and he's gotten a lot of sun, but like you said, he's also very like unhealthy.
Yeah.
So maybe the sunlight is pulling all of the toxins out of his body or cancer cells or whatnot, that
It's
there's so many
possible.
theories, but that certainly does make sense for me.
Yeah, I mean, like it's certainly like not out of the like in my mind not out of the realm of possibility.
Yes.
Like I think there's something there to really like think about
Makes
and
more sense
explore.
than thinking that the sun caused it to me.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So yeah, another thing that's important, which is really hard. I don't practice this yet, but I want to, and I will try to work towards it. Is eating seasonally and locally.
Hmm.
Um, we were always meant to eat seasonally and locally. Now these days we have food being shipped from China, Mexico, all over the world. So, think about it. If we're telling you that the sunlight is full of information, good, healthy information for that your body takes in, and it helps to control all of your bodily functions and keep you healthy. It's the same for the food. The sunlight, so the food that you're eating has light information in it, you know. So when we eat that food, so when we eat, say, an apple that was grown in China, we're eating that light information from China, which is probably a different season, different climate than what we are living in.
Hmm.
So it's not able to give our bodies what our body truly needs for that time period, you know, because our bodies need different things at different time periods. And also, if we're eating, apples in winter, or what, any fruits or vegetables in winter that only grow in summer, that's just confusing our body. We're confusing our bodies by giving it things that don't grow at that time period, and
Yeah,
just like
so
there are seasons of the year, our body goes through that too and is doing different things. So we need to be consuming the correct information with our food, our light, everything.
yeah, like kind of brings you back, like make it like making sense as like if things aren't like things don't just happen for no reason. And it's like makes you wonder if the things that grow in your area at a specific time, like if that like there's a reason for that.
Yes, there
It's not by
certainly is.
accident that, we can only grow like root vegetables are so popular in the fall,
Yes.
like perhaps it's there, it's like deeper than that. Like we just think, well, this grows now and that grows then and
Yeah.
whatever. But maybe there's something more to that,
Yeah, like why do they grow at that time? Well, it's
maybe because we need
because
it. There's
yes,
something in there that our bodies need during that time period.
right.
So I see kind of where you're going with that.
Right, because like the light is different then, the weather is different then, and we live in this environment, so we're no different than the plants outside and everything else, all the animals, and everything changes with every season, and we're no different.
Hmm.
So that's a hard one because we're all so used to having our apples and bananas all year. I know I am. And
Hmm.
so it's hard, and like it's expensive to buy, like for meat, for example, to buy your meat just locally. It's better, it's way better and ideal, but it's expensive. But it's just good to know and be informed, and when you
Hmm.
can make those changes, to make them, because
Yeah.
if you never learn about it, you never know, you'll never start to make those changes. So
Yeah. And just like, so, this is what I wanted to say earlier, but I actually got into, I'm like obsessed with seed oils, right? And
hmm
so I got into this Facebook group for seed oil freaks like me. And I just like I don't really comment much because man, there's so many trolls out there. And the second you say something, I feel like people like have something bad to say back to you for some
oh
whatever
yeah.
reason. But anyway, people are saying that like their theory or whatever is that the reason why we sunburn is because of seed oils, and that if you can detox off of seed oils, which takes like 5 years, which is crazy because
Wow.
that seed oil gets stored in our fat cells, so you can't get rid of it easily. But they said that like I don't know, they theorized that it's the seed oils that make our skin burn.
Wow.
Like seed
I
oils are just like so toxic for us, and they
They are
cause like all
toxic.
these things that like we don't even know yet.
Right. They're toxic, and they're just like really unnatural,
Hmm.
So it's an oil we would never be able to produce without modern technology or equipment. And I certainly wouldn't discount that it could do that.
Yeah, I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. I was like, maybe.
I know, right? Like, I mean, I like to hear all the theories. I don't really care if it has science to back it up, because I'm still going to make my own evaluation of it either way. But I like to hear it. It's really good to hear all the sides to where you can make a valid, educated decision,
Yeah, like make your own decision,
Right.
look at the information, think about what makes sense, and like you decide what you want to do. And also like I like really think everybody should get outside different times of the day and just try to take note of how you're feeling, and like did
Yes.
that make you feel better or worse, and like kind of just try to like be a little more conscious about how things are like affecting you and
Yes.
whether it is making positive changes in your life.
Pay attention to your body
Yeah. Because,
100%. Like,
like,
that's
I mean,
the
I just know I
best
felt
way to
great.
get healthy. Yeah.
Yep. So I, I really, this stuff is like really intriguing to me. I am really interested in learning more. I like, follow Jackie Jolie, see what she says. Do I agree with every single thing? No. I'm still a little bit hesitant about some of the stuff like the solar callus and like building your, resistance to like getting sunburn and stuff like that. But I'm taking it in, I'm learning and seeing how it goes. I am trying it out this summer and see how my body does in the sun. um, and I mean, I did go to the beach last weekend and I did wear sunscreen. I also like burned really bad, even with the sunscreen. Not really bad, but I did burn like up on my shoulders, and my chest a little bit. Um, but you know, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's also another theory about skin cancer is that we're
Oh
always
yeah.
slathering sunscreen, and a lot of times it's very toxic all over our skin, and then we're baking in the sun with it, you know? So who's to say that that isn't causing it, or all of the skincare products that we use that are
Hmm.
full of toxic, you know,
Well, and there, like
substances?
a lot of those sunscreens have been proven to, like the active ingredient in sunscreen. Um, let's see, sunscreen. Let's see, they found out that there was benzene in like tons of sunscreens. So we're talking about, your normal like Neutrogena's copper tones, like your standard run of
Yeah.
the mill sunscreens. If it's not a mineral based sunscreen, like, zinc, um, then like you're putting bad chemicals on your skin because that stuff's all like closely related to benzene, like the chemical compound in sunscreen.
Right. And you're also blocking the light information, your body from absorbing the correct light information, which is just essentially causing chaos in your body and confusing your body, you know? And there's so much that goes into it, so many avenues you can take as to why we get skin cancer or any cancer diseases, you know, and then we're consuming these pharmaceutical medications, you know, everything. All of that can be at play.
Hmm.
But yeah, like, you know, like you're still a little skeptical, and that's fine. But what's great is that you're not completely discounting it just
Yeah.
because you don't necessarily believe it all, you know. And I think that's important, because if we just immediately discount things, just like, oh no, that couldn't possibly be true, and we don't give it the time of day because of that, we'll never grow, you know. Like so many things that I know now, I would have never believed in the past if I did, you know, if I didn't look a little further into it. If I just was like, oh, that's crazy, that could never be. Like, a lot of things are crazy. They're really not
Yeah.
crazy, but they seem crazy to us because we've just been living a certain way for so long.
Well, I mean, just like thinking about how your body, like from a microbiology standpoint, like how your body functions, like with its different receptors, and chloride does this to, and this receptor opens, and then that triggers that. I mean, just like that stuff, like is crazy. Like it's like mind blowing, like
Yeah.
how the body works. But I mean, that's all around us. Like this whole world is fascinating and mind blowing, like all of it. So I just think all the stuff is cool. Like I'm into learning more. I'm not just gonna like believe what people are trying to sell me. Like if you're making money off of it, sunscreen and like all that stuff, it's like they're selling us something and they've got the whole world convinced they need it, well, except for like indigenous people,
Right.
like out in a remote island. But anyway,
Who
so
are always in the sun,
yeah.
which I don't know. I guess there's conflicting studies on that, but I don't think they're dying of skin cancer, and they're always in the sun. They're also not
Yeah, I don't
burning.
know. So I think that this was great. I am excited. I'm going to leave here and go get out in the sun because that's
Yeah.
what I like to do in the afternoon. And maybe I'll take my clothes off. And I think there's a good possibility I'm going to get my booty in there and see how that feels too. I'm
Do it.
going to do it. I'm going to report back.
Let me know.
I'm going to journal about it.
I want to know how you feel after.
I'll let you know. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, we look forward to doing this. We have a really great time talking to each other, and we love trying to educate people, or at least just, not educate you, but just think about it.
inspire and empower you
Yeah.
to look into, just to view life in a different way, and health in a different way. Yeah, because
Yes.
we're,
And
we're
like,
definitely not experts, but
no,
we want you to
feel
understand you have
better.
the power to do things differently.
And to feel better in this life because we
Yes.
only have one life. You know, we have this one opportunity on this earth to make connections with our family and our friends and to feel good. You know, like
Yes.
I want everybody to just feel good the best that they can, you know, genuinely.
Same.
So, all right, guys, we had a good time. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend. Please listen every Friday. We really appreciate everyone's support and we hope that you liked it. So, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.